What is up, everybody? Mr. Immigrant here, and this is part 2. We're continuing the interview with Jared McMullen from Friday Night Cranks. So let's go, you know?
It's Friday Night Cranks in here. Friday Night Cranks in here. So if you on time when you hopping online, see me going all night, and the best is clear. It's Friday Night Cranks. It's Friday Night Cranks in here. Friday Night Cranks in here. So if you on time when you hopping online, see me going all night, so the best is clear. It's Friday Night.
First story, it was after a play. My cousins were in a play, so all the kids, the cast were going out to dinner or something, and the kid James was on like the crew or something. So my aunt didn't feel like taking my cousins to dinner because they were going to be out all night. So I was like, oh, I'll take them. So I took our truck, dropped her off at the house, and driving. So there were all the tables filled up in the diner. So the only table that was free was at a table with my ex and this other girl who I was kind of friends with and her current boyfriend. So I sat down and she's like, "Oh, this is my ex, Jared." And I'm like, "This is so awkward."
Yeah,
so she introduced me. And she's like, "So this is my new boyfriend." And I'm like, "Oh, cool," because I didn't care. So she is like kind of sitting there. He's like, "Oh, you got any advice for me? Haha." And I'm like, "Yeah, run." And then like 2 minutes later was when the mom confronted me. So it was a really bizarre night.
Oh, man. All of this, you're taking care of kids?
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's awkward.
Yeah, it was very uncomfortable, but and then at the time it had like 10 million, so my cousin Kristen was next to me, and the mom's like, the prank call has 1 million plays on YouTube, and Kristen turns around, she's like, I'm sorry, it has 10? And just goes back to eating at her little table. Just making things a little worse. I mean, because why not at that point?
Yeah.
Which is great.
I heard that you're making a full album with your songs?
Yes. Yes, I currently have like 13 songs that I'm working on.
Oh, really?
Jeez. Yeah. Let's see. I have the list somewhere over here. Let's see. So 5 have been released. So I think Glitter Sex is going to be on it, which was my original, kind of first.
That one, I remember.
So Glitter Sex, X's Netflix Hard on the Feet Relatable, and Santa's Not Real are going to be on it. And then I think there are 7 other ones that I'm currently...
Yeah, Glitter Sex was definitely up there for me. I actually almost memorized that song.
That's great. Apparently, people have played it at other people's weddings.
Oh, man.
Somebody tweeted me like, "Oh, dude, heard Glitter Sex. I love it." And I'm like, "Cool." And he's like, "Yeah, it was played at like my uncle's wedding." I'm like, "That's weird."
That's cool.
My grandma wanted it to be her ringtone. She's like, "Can you show me how to make it my ringtone?" I'm like, "No." Like, "But it's so catchy." Like, no, grandma.
Oh, man. You should collab on a song with Bo Burnham.
How beautiful are today's love songs? I'll show you. I love your hair, I love your name, I love the way you say it. I love your heart and you're so smart cause you gave away it. I love your sis, I love your dad, I love your mom. But more than all of that, I love the fact that you are dumb enough to not realize everything I've said has been said before in 1,000 ways, in 1,000 songs, sung with the same 4 chords. But you'll still love it and let me finger you. Yeah, finger you. Finger you.
That would be cool.
That would be great. I love him. He is one of my favorites.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
Yeah, he's great. I think he has a new special coming out soon, which I'm friggin' pumped for.
Oh, jeez, yeah, I'm definitely gonna watch that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I know you've been working on the Friday Night Cranks book. You think it will be coming out this year?
Yes, I'm shooting for July. That's where that's coming down to. July? I think I wrote half of it, and I'm still trying to figure out how it's going to be formatted, but I'm writing way too much, and then I'm going to take out stuff as opposed to not writing enough, I guess. So I'm shooting for July.
Last year, you were saying that you're ending Friday Night Cranks?
Yes, that is... I was originally going to end it last year, just because doing it every week is just... I don't know. There's when you first start doing a show or start really doing anything, there's an excitement and a fire and just I don't know. It just wasn't as much, and I was just thinking of different things that I wanted to do, and just giving up Friday nights and not just Friday nights, but working on it full time every week for it'll be 9 years tomorrow, actually. So,
Oh, really?
yeah. So then, so then I was like, all right, I'll end it. And then I started doing shows like sporadically, like every few months or every few weeks. And it was still fun. And now I'm just kind of like, all right, I'm going to write a book, kind of talking about everything, a bunch of stories, and like a lot of stuff that people don't even know happened. Like,
yeah, behind the scenes.
I hired like this manager lady who like was a psychopath to like help with like stuff, and it got weird. And then this celebrity who I don't know if I'm going to mention his name in the book, but tried to buy Friday Night Cranks at one point for like it is a ridiculous amount of money, like over six figures.
Jeez.
And I told him to go fuck himself, and then it got like really confrontational. And then I met him again like years later at a random bar in LA, and so that was weird. And then what else random happened? I pitched a TV show idea based off of Friday Night Cranks to like Comedy Central and MTV. And just like so many stories behind that of just like sitting in a room with all these executives that like don't understand anything.
I the way when I heard you talking about it, they like don't laugh at all. They're like super serious.
Yeah, it was like really serious. And I'm trying to warm the room up, making jokes, and they're like, "Oh, that's funny." Like they were watching like the prank call gone wrong, and they were literally going, "Ha, I like that one." Like, all right, guy. And then we walk in and they're like, "Oh, do you guys want shots?" And we're like, "No." And we're like, "Oh, we're going to do some shots." And we're like, all right. What is happening?
Damn, I always wanted to do that, like pitch an idea, but I get nervous. Plus, I don't know like how like the copyright stuff, and like I feel like
it's a process, but at the same time, the people that are running these networks and whatever, there was one guy, and his name is Jack. He's great. He doesn't work with the network he was at anymore, but he was actually great and probably one of the only nice people that we met in this whole process. But yeah, most people, like, they just don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And like you're trying to explain, like, at the time, I think we had like 50 million plays total on Friday Night Cranks, so it was a few years back. And I was like, yeah, so the total's 50 million. And they're like, is that a lot?
No.
And I was like, is 50 million of anything a lot? And they're like, yeah, I guess it is. Like, how is that a question? Like, if it wasn't a lot, I wouldn't have said it.
Yeah. Oh, man. So it's like a quiet room, and you have, like, did you do, like, a PowerPoint, or, like?
I tried, but, like, it wasn't happening. So I kind of went rogue and just was trying to, like...
Try to build...
Yeah, because they weren't looking at... Like, I gave them a booklet to read through.
Yeah.
And I'm not even kidding. One lady was pretending to look at it and was upside down. Like, she was just, like, humoring me while I was talking, pretending to read it. But was just, like, staring into space. Then one lady was like, well, you want to do a show idea, but it needs to be more diverse, all right? Are we, like, too white? And she's like, no, what we need, there's a guy and a girl and another guy. So we need, like, another girl who's, like, a slut that will make Kristen seem like the smart one, because she can't be the only girl, because then guys are just going to look at her as a sex object. So if we have a sex object, they'll see her as a woman. And I'm like, this makes no sense. And this was for a family network, by the way. It's like a kid family kind of network. So like, then we need, I swear to God, I have the treatment they sent me. Like, we need a generic black male to show that you're not racist.
What?
And I was like, but one, we're not racist, and two, isn't hiring somebody because they're black racist?
Yeah, that seems more racist.
Yeah, and then they're like, and then you need like a tech guru. And I'm like, all right, well, we kind of have that written. And they're like, no, you need like an Asian that like puts everything together, that like builds things. Either like a Mexican or Asian. I swear to you, this was like a real conversation we had with people. And
what was the look on his face? Like, how serious?
Oh no, they were dead serious. Like they said, and we'll do this show right now, like with you, Kristen, Joe, a generic black male, a slut, and a Mexican/Asian.
Oh man.
And I was like, oh, and they sent me like a few weeks later after we said no, like a treatment, like their own PowerPoint with the show, and they photoshopped like people into our pictures. Like it was weird. It was like I thought they were messing with us, but they were completely serious.
Oh man, this was like Comedy Network.
That wasn't Comedy Central, but that was a children, like a kid
family channel
kind of network.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if I want to say which one it was, but it was very bizarre because we went in thinking like, all right, here's what they might say. They might say no, but they were like, oh, we want to do this, but just this way, and it was very strange.
Yeah.
And then another network wanted to do it, but they just wanted to fake everything, which was stupid, so.
Yeah, I know TV. They're trying to like fake everything because it's more easier for them. But
yeah, they're like, what if you're doing a prank and someone shoots you? I'm like, all right, well, that could happen in like real life, and everyone's gonna know. They're like, well, if we hire good enough actors, no one will know. And I was like, I'll know.
Yeah.
I'll know it's fake.
Oh man, I remember the prank you did with your Barney, the moving truck one. The guy came out with a knife.
Yes,
that
was crazy.
Like,
he had a gun in his car. He just forgot it in the car.
Holy shit! Yeah, so like I mean, like these TV networks though, they give you like a shot, and you guys have to film like a pilot, and then
yeah, which we didn't get to do, sadly. But we were going for like, oh, you guys can shoot like a pilot, and they would pay for it. We did it anyway. Like we shot our own just because.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so we pitched a few, like, we did 2 years of pitching. So 1 year, we just had, like, an idea on paper. And we pitched, and everyone kind of said no. But, you know, it just wasn't working. So, like, all right, maybe they can't visualize it. So we're going to shoot a bunch of hidden camera stuff and then show it to people. So we went back, because, like, I had on paper, I'm going to jump out of a box and sing a song to a girl. And they're like, there's no way that would work. Okay. And then we went back to those same people a year later, and we're like, look, like, we did that. But then it was like too real for them. It was way too real for everybody.
Yeah.
But that's okay, because I was looking back at some of the ideas I've written down. I'm like, yeah, that could have killed me.
Yeah, because they want to like change everything. They want to add their own stuff.
Yeah. It would have been better if we went into like, we're going to do a hidden camera show, and they're like, and what else? I'm like, oh, that's it. And then they would go, oh, you should do this, and then, like, that's probably how it would have worked, but we were like, here's a show, here's what we want to do, and they were just like, no, we can't fake that.
So, here's a weird question.
Sure.
How is that ninja kid from your live show or in the earlier shows? How is that guy doing?
He's doing good. I'm friends with him on Facebook. I hit him up about interviewing him for the book, and I'm sure he's going to. He's doing good. Those were some good times. Like, yeah, when I'm writing this book, I was just like, how did it last 9 years? And then also, how did people even watch this thing? Because it was a complete train wreck.
So you invite, like, a stranger to your own home?
Yeah, the student messaged us in a chat room and was like, hey, because I think one episode one of us was wearing like a high school jacket or something, and he was like, "Oh, I go to that high school," and he was like, "Hey, I'm in Shirley, which is where we live." He's like, "Can I come over for the show?" And his profile was just the white ninja, and I looked at his picture, and it was a white ninja, so I was like, "Sure." He's like, "Can I bring swords?" And we're like, "Yeah." And he just like comes out, like I was like, "Here's my address." Like the show starts at 9, and he just shows up, and yeah, that was weird, but definitely something I will never do again. But I was 15 at the time. So that's what happens when you put a 15-year-old. I think Joe was 13, Kristen was 10. That's what happens when you give people like that a show.
Oh man, that's jokes though. At least it makes for amazing stories now. Like, he brought real swords.
Or? Yeah, he brought 2 giant swords, and we thought they were fake. So. I have the video somewhere, and the book is going to be like very interactive. If you buy the physical book, you could go to a website, and the book will have like notes on it, like dead notes or whatever. Like when I tell the White Ninja story, it'll say like number 43. Then you go to number 43 on the website, and you can see the video that I'm talking about in the book. And if you're watching it on an iPad, reading the book on an iPad or a phone, you can like tap on the words and stuff will pop up.
That's sick. Yeah, I want to get the hardcover. Like craziness behind the scenes, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. So you can see in the video in this book about the White Ninja Kid, he brings these swords, and I just assumed they were fake because I'm like, oh, this dude just has a ninja costume. He was a ninja for Halloween, whatever. But he'll play this character as a ninja on the show. It'll be fine. And he's like, can I sit behind the couch? And then when the show starts, I'll like jump up and draw my swords, and like you guys just will pretend I'm not there. And I'm like, sure. So the show starts, and he jumps up and like draws the sword, and I start laughing. And he holds the sword to my throat, and from like behind the couch. So he has like his arm wrapped around me, and he has a knife kind of by my throat, and I was laughing. And then I asked if the swords were real as like a joke, and he like nods. And I'm like, oh, yeah, they're real, whatever. So the plan was to have a ream of paper, and Kristen was going to like slice through the paper, and it wasn't going to work, obviously. And she cut through like half of the ream of paper while she was holding it. And then I realized there was a stranger in our basement, and there are these two real swords, and no one knows who this guy is. No one has any information, and everyone thinks that we know him, but we don't.
Your parents thought you was your friend?
I think my dad knew that something was a little off, but I don't think he knew that extent. And then the show was over, and Joe and Kristen's parents picked them up. He was like, oh, could your parents give me a ride home? They were like, sure. And then they were driving him home. He's like, oh, pull over here. And they pulled over at like a cross street, and he got out of the car and like ran off into the darkness.
And never saw him again.
I'm on the show one more time because he just like randomly showed up. He just like knocked on the door. And we're like, oh, he's back. A few years back, I figured out who he was, and then it was funny.
Only Friday Night Cranks.
Yes.
The craziest. The
so
craziness.
Let me get up. It's Friday Night Cranks in here. Friday Night Cranks in here.